Well, hello loves and happy Sunday to you. Today is going to be a lot of fun. So I am continuing. So on Friday, if you haven't seen the last two videos, Friday and Saturday, we launched some new stencils. I'm doing smaller batches of stencils from kind of here forward. It's just easier for me to manage and all those kinds of things. Maybe more often we'll do that, but for now we've launched some new stencils in the shop. They're kind of summerish, not even that, just some new stencils. How about that? And I'm just kind of continuing and playing with those stencils. And so I'm going to kind of walk you through a little bit of what I'm doing and what I've done. And then at the end of the video, we'll kind of talk about meaning and a little bit more details and that kind of stuff. So far, what I have done with my project. So I have out here, I'm working in a triptych or a series, whatever you want to call it. I have 3 panels out here that are 12 by 12. You can see those. And I have already put my paper down, and I'm going to walk you through, what I did, but you don't need to see me put the papers down. What I've done is I have some random bits, and I'm still probably going to put a couple more pieces on here. Some butterflies maybe kind of peeking through, but this is where I'm at right now, so you didn't have to see me put down all of the papers and that kind of thing. But what I want you to think about, I put my papers down with Liquitex Fluid Matte Medium. These are all different collage packs, and what I've used here today, they're the same collage packs throughout with just different bits. Those will be on sale to you this week, and I just printed them out, cut them out, and then laid them out. And I wanted this main area here for each one of those to be that place for my focal point, and my focal point is going to be really, really good. It's one of the new stencils, and I'm super excited about it. I designed this because this is something that I have wanted to do, and so I can't wait. But I have this kind of area here. I'm going to kind of embellish this a little bit out here and push it back with a couple of layers. But what I want you to think about as you're putting your papers down, and I think I said this, I put all of my papers down with Liquitex Fluid Matte Medium. But think about, so as I started placing my papers, I put my colors in kind of opposite areas. So I've got my 2 oranges over here, I've got these 2 colors over here, I've got neutrals. So I kind of tried to vary them, like brights, neutral, kind of break them up a little bit so it kind of balances this area. Now, I don't know at this point how much of this is going to peek through once I start getting my layers on, but I know that there will be some, because that's part of the beauty of this, because the piece is going to be relatively simple except for this background. And so once I've got my papers down, then I'm going to do a little bit of painting on here and create some more pattern with some of the new stencils, and then push that back to kind of neutralize it so that the focal point will stand out. And I'll do that with either a glaze or a wash or something like that, or a brayer. I haven't decided quite yet. I have an idea of where this is going to go. Hopefully it will go in the direction that I want it to go. But so I have done that same process with each piece. So I've broken up my colors, and then in between I've put some of the neutrals. And the neutrals are important because 1, I'm going to add some more color, and 2, you don't want so much of the color and the busyness to really detract from your focal point. The most important thing when you're creating is making sure that people know where the focal point is. And once we're done, no one will doubt where the focal point is if I do it right. So I've got 3 pieces. They're 12 by 12 MDF boards. I've put my papers down already, and it's ready to go. I'm going to add my next layers of paint and different things like that. The stencils that I'm using today are my masks. Oh, you guys, I'm so excited. Now these are, let me put this out here so you can see. These are my flower masks, and this is actually the large. This is a 12 by 16 stencil. They come in smaller versions, so a smaller one, 8 by 10, which is perfect for journaling or whatever, but I wanted to do something large because that's kind of what I wanted. So I can use it on bigger canvases and things like that, but I'm going to use the large ones because I just couldn't wait. So I've got, there's 3 of them. I think I just wonderfully named them Flower Mask 1, 2, and 3. But this one's really grand. And the nice thing is you don't have to use the whole stem. So like I'm going to be using this, let me find a darker sheet here. I'll be using this like this. I'll be not taking the stem all the way down, but this is a really nice size one for larger pieces. And then here's the next one. Look at how gorgeous that is. I can't wait. I cannot wait. And what I'm planning to do, I always say what I'm going to do. Everything's up for change as you begin creating. But what I plan on doing is stamping with these on tissue paper. So I have out and ready to go tissue paper. And I will be spraying and stamping. Now these, I'm going to have to get some larger pieces of tissue paper, but I will be spraying these with paint, with my carbon black paint, and then I will be stamping with them. So that is my plan. And I don't think that there's going to be a whole lot of anything else that, I mean, I will be using just some basic paints. Nothing too, oh, I know what else I'm going to be using. I want to create some other pattern on top of this, and some of the neutral areas a little bit, not too much. But I've just pulled out, I have a bunch of 6x6 stencils that I showed you in Friday's video. A bunch of 6x6 stencils. I've been playing with them so much that this is just the cutest. And if I haven't created something with these already in my tissue paper stash, I don't think you can see that well. I should have. Anyway, you guys saw these already on Friday, and if you haven't, you can go back and take a look at it. So I've got my 6x6s. I got the really cutest 6x6 stencils this go round. And then I also have out, let me grab my stash. This is all my samples. This is some deli paper and tissue paper samples. Look at how cute that is. Anyway, I don't want to get too in the weeds here, but I've got a bunch of different patterns here. Oh. And I might use these instead on the sides here. Instead of painting some in or stenciling some in, I might use some of these as well, but I have these ready to go if I need them. Like that one's so pretty. Oh, I get like deep in the weeds going through all my stash of stuff because I just love it so much. Okay, so enough talking. Let's get creating. So I'm going to work on these kind of one at a time, and then kind of show you a little bit some progress, because I'm going to be doing the same thing on each one, but I'll show you hopefully all 3 in some stage of process, but definitely one all the way through, and then we'll be able to see them all at the end of the video, and then we will have our chat about meaning and all those kinds of things. All right, let's get creating. All right, so I wanted to pop in really quick and just kind of tell you what I'm doing here. I have put down my words, and I just printed them out on paper and then cut them and put them out, or put them down with some matte gel. Then, so I've got 2 of these done. So I came back in now, and I have added some additional stenciling on this one, and you can see, hopefully you can see that gold. Let me pull this one over. So I've added some additional stenciling, and I want to show you how I'm doing that, because I wanted to tone this down just a little bit more, not anything too big, but let me grab some clean sponges here. And I've got out my liquid metal gold, which is, I think, one of the best golds out there. It just is so vibrant, liquid metal gold. And then I've also got my gesso. And what I'm doing is I'm coming in with the gold first. So I will just kind of dip my sponge in here. Put that over there. Dip my sponge in here and then kind of tap it out a little bit. And then I've got one of my new stencils out here, and I'm just kind of come in some areas where it feels a little maybe chaotic, or maybe it feels a little flat, and I want to add a little bit. So like in here, I've added just the gold. But I'm doing a combination of the 2. So I'm going to come in here and add a little bit of gold and just kind of bring that out. And I'm working in a real random pattern. I don't want it to be too uniform or anything like that, but it's real super soft and subtle right now. And then I'll probably, like this over here in this dark area, I'll probably kind of come in and just bring some of that in down here. It's kind of random. You can see it kind of stands out a little bit more there. But I don't want it to be all in the dark areas. I want it to really be kind of random. I am going to bring some of that in over here. And I need to kind of refresh my sponge. And I'm just kind of real random. Just kind of all over the place, just so that it doesn't feel too predictable. And I don't want to take away all of the goodness that we've got going on. But it felt a little, I didn't feel like it was pulled together very well so far, and this really helped it. Okay, that looks pretty good. I think I'll add a little bit up here. A little bit more up here anyway. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back with my gesso to that first area that I started with right in here. Feels fairly dry. And I'm just going to match up my stencil. And then I'm going to offset it. I'm going to shift it over just a tiny bit so that it kind of adds a little, not necessarily shading because I'm using white, but it adds just kind of a little bit of extra oomph to the stencil. Plus, I'm not going to cover all of the gold. I'm going to do just kind of the outside edges of it. I want to be random with this as well and just kind of cover some of the areas, not all of them. I'll pick that up. And so I've gone back over the gold, and that almost feels too bright, so I'm going to kind of come back and pick that up a little bit. But I'm coming right back over the gold, and I'm hoping that you can see that where the gold is kind of sticking out underneath because I've offset the stencil. So let me come back over to this area. Let's find out which one's dry. This area over here. So match up my stencil here. Then I'm going to shift it over just a tiny bit And then I'll come back in and grab a little bit more gesso out here, making sure that I don't have a big glob on my stencil, and just kind of softly kind of go over some of the edges of that gold. Okay, loves, here they are. Absolutely love, love, love them. I am so pleased. I love how these flowers turned out. How the stencil was perfect. This is the large 12 by 16. These are the same in the 8 by 10. So there's all three of them. Now, I feel like they're done, but I have like an inclination to add a number, which is always a thing for me. Numbers are a thing for me. So here's my kind of spray painted numbers with this stencil that we did some, I showed you some of this at the first video on Friday. So right now it's really great, and it feels really bohemian with the pattern and the gold and everything. I really like it. But here's what I want to say about tissue paper. I'm going to go ahead and do one. The best thing about tissue paper, it's like with these flowers. Doing something on tissue paper like this, there's no risk involved. So if I end up putting this down and I just positively hate it, I just take it off. There's no harm. So I'm going to, and same thing with my flowers. So one of the main reasons I stenciled on tissue paper is because I wanted to make sure that the pattern was good. I didn't want to do all this work and then stamp onto my piece and the stamping not look good. So that's why I love, 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 love working with tissue paper. So let me just quickly put this down. And I'll put it up here a little bit more. And lots of Liquitex fluid matte medium makes your tissue paper disappear. Okay. So I've got that there now. I've got an idea of how it looks, and I don't like it. I really like them the way that they are. So, done. Absolutely no harm done to my piece. I can try something out and see if it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. And you haven't wasted your whole piece. And so that's why I love working with tissue paper, and why I continue to kind of expand working with tissue paper. So anyway, so there are my pieces. I love, love, love them. I hope if you haven't seen all of the videos, Friday, Saturday, and then today, Sunday inspiration, that you check them out and check out the new stencils in the shop. They are awesome. Every time I design stencils, I'm always like, these are the best ones. But I really, really like these ones. I was very specific about some of the designs because of the work with tissue paper that I'm doing. So I hope you check them out and see if they float your boat. All right, so the meaning behind these three beauties. I was reading this book, 1,000 Little Things Happy, Successful People Do Differently, which I love. And it's really, really meaningful, good quotes and different things, but really good things to think about, and really good, inspiring art topics, like, you know. So I'll have a link to this in the blog. But so for this, as I was reading the book, it was like 10 different things happy people do or something. It was just one certain section. There's a whole bunch of things. But above that section was this quote: "Be open-hearted, open-handed, open-minded." And I was like, I loved the open-hearted and open-handed. Open-minded was a little bit odd for me, and I had to think about it for a little bit, but it really resonated with me, the whole thing. And so I began to think about that, and of course I journaled it out, and I kind of prayed it out a little bit. And so open-hearted to me means being open to love and be loved, open to being vulnerable. Super scary, right? Open-hearted to be genuine with people and be yourself. Be comfortable with yourself. That's what open-hearted means to me. And those are all things that I strive to do. Not very well some days, but that's really a call for me, a calling for me, open-hearted. Then open-handed is about being able to give. That's what it represents for me, being able to give to others around you, give to the community, to those in need, to your spouse, giving, and being generous. Even open-handed means like generous spirit, being generous with my time, being generous with my resources, whatever that's what that kind of means to me. And open-handed, and really all of these things, while I'm saying these things, the meanings they are outwardly, they're also inwardly. So being vulnerable with yourself and having those self-talks with yourself, or being generous with giving to yourself. And then open-minded, being open to, because, you know, so often our opinions are our opinions, right? But I have, especially over the last year and a half, I've really sat with things that maybe I didn't necessarily know or understand or agree with. And maybe I still don't agree with them, but I have looked at them from another perspective. And it changes me. I look at it from someone else's perspective. And I look at something with grace and love. And it helps me to be open-minded and to have no judgment. Not always. I'm not perfect at any of this by any means. But these are the things that I strive for. That's why when the quote popped out, I was like, oh, Oh yeah. But open-minded to listen, even if I don't agree, or open-minded to learn something new, or think about something differently, or have a different perspective. Open-minded to learn and to grow, and all of those kinds of things. Oh man, there's so much depth in each one of these. I could go on and on. And so as I wrote around my flowers, I wrote out all of the things that I thought about when I thought about being open-minded. And my prayer, Lord, let me be this. Let me do this. Let me work on this. I know I need to be better at this. That was what I was writing as I wrote around my flowers. And that's kind of what I wrote in my journal as well. And so that is my inspiration for these three wonderful pieces. I just love them. And so I hope that today, Sunday, maybe there's one of these things that you might need to take a second look at. Being open-hearted, being vulnerable, being open-handed, being generous or giving or helping, or open-minded, where you maybe look at something with a different perspective, a different idea. I don't know what it is for you, and maybe you're good on all these things, and yay for you. But maybe you just need to take a second look at a couple of things. That's my inspiration for you today, my friends. I hope that your Sunday is restful and peaceful. I hope that you can take a look at your own heart, your own hands, your own mind, and see what you need to do or learn or change. And I hope that you always, always know that you are loved.